Steve. Today is Wednesday, March the 12th. I have to start by saying I really enjoyed your last video. I thought it was a really creative entry to the Rad Bromance project. I also liked your idea of Badass Friday, where on every Friday we highlight someone we consider to be badass. I'll start things off next Friday, since as you said, I'm going to have 2 Fridays in a row. Plus, I may try something different of my own on Friday. I'm now over halfway through my March break, and I have to admit that today was a little bit of a stall in production. Although, that is to be expected when an unexpected blizzard hits. It also dampened my motivation, along with having a little bit too much free time in the morning and afternoon. During my working schedule, I always think about all the stuff I would get done if I only had a week off. And then when I finally get that week off, I find I tend to just sort of procrastinate on things and really not make use of the time as well as I'd like. For example, I did have plans to tie up some of the loose ends from my days working at camp, but I've kind of procrastinated on doing that. I also had plans to go shopping for the first time in a while, but that got derailed by the weather. I mean, nobody really wants to go busting around in this weather, especially considering how good the weather was just a couple days ago. I did, however, run 2.5 miles on Tuesday, and read it in a time of 23 minutes and 6 seconds. There was no running today, but I did get a chance to cook a meal. A few years back, I received this Betty Crocker cookbook from my aunt. Sadly, I haven't used it much yet, but that did change today. I decided to make some spaghetti, which is one of my staple meals, but today I decided to add some real legitimate meatballs. I guess the weather today truly was cloudy with a chance of meatballs. So after a lengthy trip through a blizzard to the grocery store of food basics and searching endlessly through the aisles for Worcester sauce, I was ready to make my meatballs. I chopped my 1/4 cup of onions, with minimal tears at my dad. I added that to a 1/2 cup of milk and a 1/2 cup of breadcrumbs. I threw in a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, and another 1/2 teaspoon of Worcester sauce to go along with 1 whole egg. And to top it all up, 1 pound of lean ground beef. Or, if you prefer, beef. Using my bare hands, I mixed that all together, and from that I was able to make slightly less than 20 meatballs. I placed those on top of my baking pan, threw it into an oven already preheated at 400 degrees Celsius, and cooked them for 25 minutes, and the result was delicious meatballs. Mamma mia! To finish off the meal, I cooked up 1 serving of spaghetti, and combined a little bit of ragu and barbecue sauce to make the spaghetti sauce. I'll post the photos of the results in my next video. As today was highly unproductive, my goal is to make tomorrow much more productive. And here's my plan. My teaching portfolio hasn't been updated in a long time. For those who don't know, a teaching portfolio is a giant collection of stuff that pretty much demonstrates your qualifications. It's a collection of life stories and artifacts. It's pretty much a resume 2.0. I mean, look at the size of this thing. Really thick. To make sure I'm ready for the next time I apply for a teaching job, I want to make sure that this teaching portfolio is completely up to date. For starters, I have to update my philosophy of teaching maths, as that's changed a lot since the last time I made this portfolio. I also have to add stuff in for my tutoring, along with a couple of other fun things. Wish me luck. Now, time for chess. After careful consideration, I'm moving my pawn from e2 to f2. Advance the pawn! As of right now, moving either your bishop, your rook, or your knight would not be very wise. And you have a 4th pawn that's stuck in place and can't move, so that leaves your king, your queen, and 3 of your pawns as possible moving pieces. I actually don't know which of these would be most advantageous for you, so I really don't know what to expect from your move tomorrow. I'm interested in seeing what you come up with. We also might want to start thinking about our next game pretty soon. A couple options that come to mind include Battleship and Connect 4. And I'll leave it at that.